That was all presented to the board. They have agreed, and now we have a new system in Maricopa County.
A new system in which you're not running Election Day, correct?
Well, look, I've got a big ego, but I'm not a monster.
No, he's not a monster, and Democrat Adrian Fontes won't be running the 2020 elections in Maricopa County. That was part of the job Fontes was elected to do in 2016, but late last month, Fontes and the Maricopa County Board agreed that the Republican-controlled board would take over everything that happens on Election Day. Message to county supervisors: this is one of those jobs where success is measured by not screwing up. Welcome back to Square Off. Adrian Fontes is still the county recorder, still has a role to play in registering voters and overseeing other voting-related duties, and even plans to run for a second term next year. But for the first time in 65 years, the Maricopa County Board will oversee what happens on Election Day. I should point out, many other Arizona counties already do it that way. Now, here's how this will work. Under an agreement with the county recorder approved late last month, the county board now handles Election Day and emergency voting. That's the polling places, the poll workers, the ballot count. The 5 county supervisors have hired their own elections director and given him more help than previous recorders got. More than 50 new staffers, $6 million for new ballot counting machines. The first test of this new arrangement comes in mid-December. That's the deadline for submitting a voting plan for the Democratic Party's presidential preference election next March 17th. The plan should get a lot of scrutiny. The 2016 voting fiasco was largely the product of a bad plan and a lack of funding. So why did this happen, and what does it mean for you? Here's what I've seen over 7 election cycles: increasing distrust of the vote. It peaked with the 2016 presidential primary fiasco. That distrust is now being weaponized at the highest levels. Remember this tweet from President Trump last November as the ballot count dragged on in our U.S. Senate race. In Arizona, signatures don't match. Electoral corruption. Call for a new election. We must protect our democracy. None of that was true, but it amped up the Republican base and Arizona Republican Party. So is this shift all about politics? Could be. Is it a coincidence that Republicans are taking control away from a Democrat of an election that could decide who wins the White House and the U.S. Senate? For several weeks now, County Board Chairman Bill Gates has declined my invitations to appear on Square Off to explain why the board took over elections from Adrian Fontes. But it also could be that Adrian Fontes was happy to give up a thankless job that might get in the way of his re-election campaign. Politicians do political things. Now, both sides say it's an example of bipartisanship. Let's hope so. But more than that, as citizens and as voters, let's hope Maricopa County's 2020 election sets an example of competence. It's been too long since we've seen that.